If you cannot worship in sorrow, then your worship is merely noise. Hi, my name is Akeem. I'm 18 years old. I'm basically about to be done with high school, and I love Jesus, and I've loved him ever since my sophomore year. And I'm making this video because I love Jesus and I love God, but as a teen Christian, as someone who came to him as a teenager, I can admit that it is hard to be a genuine follower of Christ, especially in this time and with how a lot of people my age are acting. And that's not to disrespect or bring anyone else down. It's just stating that there are feelings of isolation that follow with being a Christian in this time. So, now that I've possibly hooked some people in, I believe that we have a stigma about God and about Jesus and about how life should work as a Christian. And I've heard other greater Christians than I talk on it, but it's simply the idea that we believe as people that when we give our lives to Christ, that everything is just going to be better, that life is just going to get easier and stuff is going to be planned out and things are just going to flow steadily. And that's what a lot of people preach, especially in prosperity gospel. And I wouldn't call myself much of a preacher. I just love Jesus and I want to talk about him and I want to glorify him. But it's just like, to me, like, that's not how life works. Jesus was crucified and was beaten and whipped, and he was harassed and he was punched and he was assaulted and he was dehumanized and treated like an animal. And I don't know where in all that we get the idea that we're somehow better than him or better than the apostles that came after him and followed him during his time on this earth, and they also suffered and bled and died and were mistreated by the world. I don't know where we get the memo that we're somehow better than all of them and deserving of peace and comfort and that warm feeling inside and when everything just works out. I think one of the hardest things to do as a Christian is to worship in sorrow, because it goes against everything we're taught. We're taught that when we're sad, we feel sad and we just focus on that and only that. And when we're mad, we feel mad and we focus only on that. And when we're happy and we focus only on that. And it's easy to love someone and to lift them up and praise them when you're feeling good, like when everything's going just the way you want it to, when everything feels warm and fuzzy and nice. But it's harder when you're actually looking at someone who you love and you're tired and you're exhausted and you're beaten, and you have to look at them and say, I still love you and I still want to try even though I don't even feel like I can move. Because that's what Jesus did for us. I moved myself down a little bit. But that's what Jesus did for us. He bled on a cross and he suffered and he went through a lot. And I know for a lot of people it can be really hard to hear, like, your worship is just noise if you're doing it only when you feel good. And that makes you like, well, isn't that the whole point? Didn't Jesus die so I could feel good? And no, he didn't die so you could feel good. He died so you could find eternal peace with him, so you could have a chance at being in heaven and you could be connected with God. And so you could be loved by God truly and not be loved in the way where he loves you and you don't care about him, but in the way that you both love each other and that you get to spend eternity with each other. Your worship is just noise if you're doing it only when you feel good. Because if you can't run to someone when you feel bad, then you're only trying to get something from them when you're happy. You're only trying to get the gifts and get the feel-good feelings. If you get in a romantic relationship with someone and you can't have serious talks with them and you can't listen to them cry and you can't be tired while they're crying and venting to you, and yet you still make an effort to listen, if you only are emotionally available when they're saying stuff that makes you feel good, you don't love that person. That person is just helping you spend time that you felt like was empty. And I feel like that's how we treat Jesus, and it shouldn't be. Our worship shouldn't be noise.